What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Life's a Dance podcast. I am your host, Trey Kulada. Thank you, as always, for joining me on this journey as I try to demystify all that crazy shit that we have going on up in our heads and the things that happen in our daily lives, usually my daily life, to give you inspiration so that you can live your life with more joy, more prosperity, and more authenticity, which brings me to today's topic, because while I feel like a lot of other podcasts are probably going to be focusing on gratitude for the things around us as we head into the Thanksgiving holiday this week, I don't want you to focus on the things that you're grateful for. I want you to be grateful for who you are. Yes, be grateful for what you have, but also I want you to take time to be grateful for who you are. Because in a world that increasingly feels like it's trying to turn us into somebody else or to be like somebody else, being our most authentic selves and appreciating who we really are at our core and authenticity, all authenticity is living in line and acting in line with your core values and your core beliefs. So when we do that, we unlock the keys to those feelings of prosperity and bliss and abundance. And when we don't, live in a way that's authentic to ourselves, you can feel that friction. So why not try to become more aware of and appreciate who you really are? Because I know for me, it was about a 35-year journey for me to really be able to appreciate who the fuck I am at my core. I was almost always trying to be somebody else. And, when you're younger, you're obviously trying, as a kid, you try on different things to see what you like best. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's just part of the journey to self-exploration and self-actualization. But now that I've gotten, to the middle point of my life and knowing more about who I am, it's like, man, I really appreciate the fact that I'm smart, book smart. I don't need to be fucking street smart. I mean, some street smart, sure, whatever. But, in a world where it's like we're always trying to be cool or look cool or keep up with somebody else's material things, it's like, I just really want you to appreciate who you are and where you are at, because you've been through some shit. I've been through some shit, and we all have something to bring to the table. I mean, there's like over 8 billion of us, and each of us has some kind of magical mixing of fairy dust to sprinkle into this world. And the sad part is that most of us aren't even using it because we're busy trying to mimic somebody else's magical fucking fairy dust. Okay. So, it's like, even for me, as an example, growing up as a kid, I was very lonely. I was an only child. My parents were divorced. I moved around a lot, school to school. So, what did I have to do? For survival, it was just like, okay, I became an extrovert, even though I felt so nervous and socially anxious in the process. It forced me to become this kind of extroverted person and rely on personality in order to make friends. And then when I got friends, I would basically do whatever they wanted me to. I would have no backbone, and I would just concede to whatever they wanted just because I was so desperate to be liked. And I didn't want to be lonely. I just wanted to have friends. And so I was not my authentic self. I was changing myself, depending on the person I might be hanging out with or the group I might be hanging out with or whatever. And not that that's necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, I had to go through those things in order to become who I am today. But looking back, it's like I was always so easily influenced by peer pressure. And to this day, I still have an issue with, confronting any type of conflict. It's hard for me. I'd rather just not say anything at all and suffer in silence than make a big deal out of something. Which isn't the right way. That's not the way to live your life coming from an authentic place, because you can feel that friction. And it's like, I've been over the past 6 months, really digging into that and figuring out language that is helping to support me to advocate for myself. And one of those sentences that I use all the time is that, right now I'm really working hard to advocate more for myself. So blah, 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 blah. And I just insert whatever the hell I need to do to stick up for myself. Because a lot of times, have you ever been in a conversation where somebody has a really strong opinion and even though you don't agree with them, if you share your opinion, it might just start a fight. And not all conflict has to be a fight. It's just a difference of opinion. So, in my mind, it's like, I don't want to be that kind of spineless jellyfish. Like, I want to be able to share my opinion. And you know what? If somebody else doesn't like it, well, at least it's out there. And I'm acting and speaking in line with my core values. So, and another example is my daughter, Mia. She's such a brainiac. She's very studious. But if I tell her that she's a nerd, she hates it. And I'm like, hey girl, that is a term of endearment. Like, it took me forever to finally wear that badge, like on my lapel, like, a badge of honor. I never wanted to be known as a dork, or a nerd, even though I was very smart going through high school and college. I'd never wanted anybody to know. It was like I had to keep it a secret because I was more concerned about being cool. And obviously now that I'm halfway through the journey of life, it's like none of that shit even mattered. But obviously, when you're a teenager, 20-something, the image is everything. So anyhow, back to the point here. Whoever it is that's out there listening right now, I just want you to know that there is something so uniquely awesome about you. Your combination of thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs and personality is perfect. And the more you can sit down and identify the things that maybe you've been trying to cover up in the name of, being included or whatever, just being accepted, I want you to really lean into loving that part of yourself and letting it show. Because I talked about this in another podcast where a long time ago where it's like, oh, you're so cute, and I hated it. And then the minute I realized, what, I am cute. Like, why do I hate that part of myself? Like, let's learn to love ourselves and be kind to ourselves and just really appreciate who we authentically are. Because the more we can bring that into the world, the more effervescent and awesome your life is going to fucking be. And that is truly what it's all about. So I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for who I am. And I want you to be grateful for who you are. All right? That's going to do it for today, guys. If you have any thoughts on the subject, I would love to hear them. Feel free to drop a comment below. I hope you all have a great, happy Thanksgiving. And you know what to do. Until next time, let's dance.